Happy holidays, everybody. Kamari Ellis here, the Finance Rebel, bringing you the Finance Rebel Show. Today's topic, well, let me, before I get into that, what the Finance Rebel Show is. Finance Rebel Show is all about increasing everyone's financial IQ. The better you increase your financial IQ, the better you can create wealth for yourself, your family, and your overall community. Today's topic, we're talking stocks, and specifically, we're talking top 5 stocks to buy your kids for holiday gifts and even for their birthday gifts, right? So let me tell you the inspiration for this. It's probably obvious though, right? Every year I get questions about how can my children learn about stocks? How can my children learn to do, be better with money? And my response is always, the better you are as a parent with money, the better your children will be because they get to see you. Children are sponges. They mimic everything they see their parents do. And the younger you start off, the better. But, one of the reasons why I like stock and talking about stocks is because it helps shape the investment mindset. So mindset to me is everything. You can't really do anything without the proper mindset. If you want to be poor, you'll have a poor mindset. If you want to be rich, you'll typically have a rich mindset. If you want to be evil, right? Because you got evil rich people and you got evil poor people, right? It's still an evil, poor, or rich mindset. Same thing, right? Whichever one you feed will tend to grow. So I always tell folks when you're talking about financial literacy, start with an investor's mindset, because as you develop your investor mindset, you can apply that to everything else. If you can look at stocks and analyze stocks, which are basically subsets of business, is business ownership, that will actually help you become a better business owner, or at least a better student of the game, right? So, all right, like I said, just going to run through 5 stocks that I think are really, really good to buy your children, right? To buy your children as Christmas gifts, holiday gifts, Kwanzaa gifts, or even birthday gifts, or any other kind of gift that you want to give them. Why? Because then it will present an opportunity for you to talk about the investment, the stock, in your everyday life, right? And then I'll present those examples as we go through this and we talk about this. If you're just joining, I'm Kamari Ellis. Feel free to comment, like, and share this video. I am broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube, and I got an IG stream going on, Instagram stream for everybody going on. So, number 1 stock I think everybody should buy their children is Disney. Why Disney? It's a $262 billion company, $262 billion company. It's trading at $145.14, pays a dividend of 1.2% or $1.76 per share. So every time they issue dividends, if you have a share, you'll get $1.76. If you have 100 shares, you'll get $176, right? But listen, Disney kind of owns everything. They've really cornered the market with a lot of their acquisitions recently. Like with 21st Century, they brought some of the X-Men content, some of the Predator content, some of the Alien content. And so I'm sure they will be using all that to continue to make more money. But listen, Disney owns ESPN, National Geographic, the Walt Disney Studios, Walt Disney Parks. They also have Star Wars now. They own a lot of the Marvel MCU, or most of the Marvel MCU, X-Men, Avengers, trying to think, Iron Man, right? So there's a possibility they will still be creating movies for those, right? Star Wars just came out. It's already done like $170 million since opening day the other day, like 4 days ago. So we know Disney is going to be in the driver's seat for quite some time. So I think it's really easy to have a conversation with your children about Disney, because so many things in the overall American landscape are owned by Disney, whether it be ESPN, ABC, Indiana Jones, the Avatar, Pixar, things like Toy Story, The Incredibles. I mean, they're going to be around for a while. Now, last year, Disney did about $70 billion in revenue. And after all that was said and done, they paid all their bills. Their net income was $11 billion. So they got to walk away with $11 billion for their shareholders and continuing operations. But In cash, they have $4 billion just in cash, plus any other revenue or cash flow they have coming through. That's a good deal to me. That is a really good deal to me. All right. So that's Disney. You can definitely look at Disney. Now, remember, I'm not telling you guys to buy the stock before you buy any investment. Talk to your investment and tax advisor because every investment has different implications. All right. Also, past performance is not a guarantee for future results. So remember that. I didn't turn off my notifications, but I'll make sure I do that next time. All right. Number two stock on the list is Apple. It's 280. I don't know why I had that on there. The share price is $284.27. That's what it closed at today. Pays a 1.08% dividend. Now, every time they pay out dividends or share to the shareholders, each shareholder with, let's say, one dividend gets $3.08. So every time they pay out a share, they get $3.08. Apple is a 1.3 trillion, again, trillion with a T company. That's what Apple is worth, 1.3 trillion. They sell things like iPhones, iPads, MacBooks. They also do a lot of informational services or tech services to big Fortune 100 international companies, Fortune 500 companies. So they make a lot of their money from tech, but they also make a lot of their money from services as well. Apple's not going anywhere. Apple has $100 billion in cash, folks. $100 billion in cash just sitting in a bank account, either in the US or somewhere abroad. Apple has money. They got money. They got money. All right. So Apple does about $270 billion in revenue every year, and they net $60 billion. So they put $60 billion in their pocket after they pay all their employees, pay their taxes, pay for building stuff. They've got $60 billion left over. Again, it's really easy to talk to your children about Apple. Why? A lot of our kids are using the iPads, right? A lot of times, sadly to say, we're giving our kids these devices to be like little mini babysitters. And so with these little mini babysitters, like the iPad, the iPods, even the MacBooks, Mac Airs, our children are using them. But now, instead of just solely consuming it, we can say, hey, we also own a piece of this company. And then it's a whole conversation about what do you think they're going to build next? What company may they buy next? What service will they put out next? What's the next innovation from the iPhone and the iPad going to be? We have iWatches, right? At some point, they're going to start putting chips inside of humans. Actually, they're already doing that to a certain degree. But what's next? So again, I think it's really easy to talk about Apple with your children. So instead of buying all these gifts, because you're probably buying Apple products for Christmas gifts, take half that money and buy, some Apple stocks as well, or add on to that product and buy Apple stocks as well. All right, so that's number two. Number three, Mickey D's, baby, McDonald's, $196.66. All right, pays a 2.54% dividend, which equals to $5 a share. So for every share that you own in McDonald's, you'll get $5. Okay. What does McDonald's sell? They sell burgers. They sell chicken nuggets. They sell filet of fish sandwiches and French fries. But McDonald's also makes a lot of their money from franchise fees and also the real estate as well. People don't realize that. Now, if anybody's ever watched the movie, I can't think of the name of the movie, but the movie was about Ray Kroc. And listen, Ray Kroc had a lot of shenanigans with him, a lot of crookedness going on with Ray Kroc, but he was able to build and scale McDonald's to what it is today. Now, McDonald's makes most of its money again from its restaurants. It makes most of its money from its franchisees, right? So McDonald's has company-owned stores, and they also have franchisees that run the stores. Now, what's really interesting about McDonald's, they have about $37 billion in real estate and equipment. And I'm venturing to think that most of that is real estate. I'm sure it's a lot in equipment as well, but a lot of it's real estate. All right. So McDonald's does $21 billion in revenue every year. On average, that's what they did last year. So they're somewhere around that $20 billion range. They got $6 billion, or they made $6 billion in net profit. Again, that's the money they get to put in their profit. Now, McDonald's is starting to see some challenges, right? Because people want to eat healthier. They want salads. They want other things. They want this impossible meat, the plant-based meat that we're seeing a lot of people starting to buy. You're seeing that at places like Burger King with the Whopper, the Impossible Whopper, and we're also seeing it at Chipotle, and also like Qdoba. So the plant-based meats are starting to come into play. If McDonald's is smart, I've read I've read things other places that some of the franchisees want to introduce some of the plant-based meats as well. So if McDonald's is smart, they will adopt or adapt to the changing times where people want to eat healthier. And again, McDonald's has plenty of money coming in. They have about $3 billion in cash just sitting on the balance sheet that they can deploy at any time. And so they can do some things. Now, one of the things that bothers me about McDonald's is McDonald's actually has more liabilities than they have assets. What's a liability? Basically, when you owe somebody some money, all right? Mortgage, some type of loan. Now, McDonald's is actually heavily leveraged in real estate, as I talked about earlier. So I'm not super duper surprised by that, but I would have thought it would have still been skewed a bit higher to the asset side. There would have been more assets than liabilities. So that is one thing I'm concerned about, but McDonald's is an institutional brand, meaning it's not going anywhere. So I think they'll be able to ride out the tide and adjust for anything that may happen. I mean, even with their move going overseas, they're starting to make more money overseas now than they're starting to make here in the States, especially in places like China and in Europe. So again, how easy would it be to talk about McDonald's with your child? Because McDonald's marketing is stellar, right? We're not talking about McDowell's. We're talking about McDonald's. So that's a little Coming to America joke if anybody's an Eddie Murphy fan. All right, next one, number 4, Procter and Gamble. Procter and Gamble. All right, Procter and Gamble is $125 and 22 cents. They pay a dividend of 2.39%, meaning that for every stock that an investor owns, they get $2.98 per share, right, for the year. Procter & Gamble's a $312 billion company. Now, Procter & Gamble is not as sexy as a McDonald's or an Apple or who was number one? I forgot who number one was. Disney, right? But guess what Procter & Gamble has? Procter & Gamble literally has, just from my count, several billion-dollar brands that are under their umbrella. So brands like Bounty Paper, Always Feminine Hygiene, Dawn, Crest toothpaste, Charbon toilet tissue, Gillette, Tide, Vicks Vapor Rub, right? Pampers. Pampers is like one of the top selling diaper brands in the world. Guess who owns it? Procter & Gamble and Head and Shoulders. So they've kind of dominated all of, it's called the consumer staples market. Basically things that people will need day in and day out to run their daily lives. You're going to wash your hair. If you have a baby, you're going to buy diapers. Well, at least I hope you buy diapers. If you don't, that's a little messy. I wouldn't be coming over for the holidays, but you get the drift, right? People need stuff. People need toothpaste. People need fabric softener, or at least one. Ladies need feminine hygiene products. So what's the likelihood of any of these businesses going out of business? Slim to none, right? It would take a major catastrophe for this to happen. All right. Procter & Gamble does $68 billion in revenue last fiscal year. They do upwards of $60 billion every year. Their net income is about $4 billion. So their profit margins are a little low. But again, that's dependable revenue day in and day out. They have $10 billion in cash. So again, stable company, stable products. You can talk about your children. You can talk to your children about these products all the time. Like personally, I love Bounty. It's the quicker picker upper. If anybody's ever seen those commercials, right? So you can talk about that. Get the Bounty. It works good. It's got one of the best brands in terms of paper towels. You can talk about that all year long. Gillette shaving. I need to shave right now. But you could talk about that. They've got like the monopoly and shaving products. So that's something you could talk about with your children as well, especially they become teenagers. So there's a lot of things you can talk about and that you should be thinking about with your children as it relates to financial literacy, financial education. Start talking to them about these products. And you'd be like, hey, we just brought a roll of Bounty, but guess what? We own stock in Bounty also because Bounty is owned by Procter and Gamble. So look at Procter and Gamble, safe company, not going around anywhere. And again, instead of buying all that stuff that's around the Christmas tree or for Hanukkah or for Kwanzaa, maybe you buy stock, right? Number 5, coming around the bend in number 5, the last one. So all of these have kind of been fun, right? Procter and Gamble, not so much. That's kind of boring. But number 5 is Hasbro. Now, that's a toy company. If you're not familiar with Hasbro, I just want to give you a rundown of some of the stuff that they buy, and it'll connect to some of the companies I talked about earlier. So one of the toys that Hasbro produces is Star Wars. So they have a licensing agreement with Disney. So Star Wars just came out. Star Wars just did, I think it's like 170 million bucks in the last few days. What do you think revenue for Hasbro is going to be potentially the next quarter? They probably will get a little lift from that. So Hasbro toy brands, right? Hasbro owns Star Wars, Nerf, Monopoly. Monopoly, best game in the universe. All of you should be playing Monopoly with your children. Monopoly is very real estate oriented. Everybody knows I love the stock market, but listen, it's a great game to kind of teach you about how the world goes. I used to play Monopoly all the time with my friends growing up. I think one year I was 14 or 15. I think every day in the summertime we played 1 to 3 games a day, like literally. And matter of fact, I think we did that for a couple of summers straight. But off subject, getting onto a little rant. Hasbro, again, owns Star Wars, Nerf, Monopoly, Play-Doh, Transformers, and Disney Frozen. So again, 2 tie-ins to Disney. Frozen isn't going anywhere as a brand. A lot of people like Frozen. So Frozen will be a while for quite some time. All right. So Hasbro, one of the smaller companies that we talked about today, but Hasbro, $5 billion in revenue, 220 million in net profit, and they have about $1 billion in cash. So again, sitting on stable cash, have stable brands, not going anywhere anytime soon. Hasbro will be around. So we talked about a couple of different companies. We talked about Disney, Apple, McDonald's, Procter and Gamble, and Hasbro. Again, Disney, Apple, McDonald's, Procter and Gamble, and Hasbro. All of these, what they call large cap companies that are larger than $10 billion. They're worth more than $10 billion, right? So these are stable companies that have, for the most part, at least $1 billion in cash, right? Cash is king. I tell y'all that all the time. Don't forget that cash is king. All right. You can't do anything without having a nice war chest of cash. Even for my credit lovers out there, somebody has to pay the credit card bill. So you still need cash for that. All right. So keep that in mind. So again, when we're sitting around spending time with our family during the holiday season, now is a great time to talk about money. Not just the latest car you brought, not just the latest vacation you took, but have conversations about some of the income producing things you're doing or the asset generating things that you're doing. Buying stock. Everybody can buy stocks. All right. Maybe if you want to buy real estate, Remy's on here. Remy's down in the DMV. You could talk about that as well. I see I have some commentary. My homegirl Vanessa Braxton is on. Shout out to Black Mama Tees, Black Mama Cafe. How you doing, Vanessa? Vanessa says McDonald's owns real estate and licensing deals. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I cover McDonald's as well, Vanessa. I'm not sure when you jumped on. I just saw your concept. Yeah, McDonald's is doing it. McDonald's is doing it. And again, it's a great thing, right? So over the holidays, look for opportunities. And you don't got to be the boring guy like me, the money nerd like me. But you could have a conversation and say, hey, we could buy some stock. right? Instead of buying toys all the time. And again, I've been called the Grinch because I told folks on Facebook I don't like Christmas music, but I put together a list that I like. But talk about stocks, talk about real estate. Figure out as a family, y'all can do something together. I don't care if you got to put $10 a month into a shoebox to come out and do something later on. Think about how you're going to secure your family's future going forward. It's a great thing to talk about during the holiday season. A lot of times we get into these arguments. Please don't talk about Trump too much around the holiday table, especially if you have Republicans in your family. But talk about making money. Money brings people together. Money will make an enemy a friend every day of the week. So again, think about money. Think about the stocks we talked about today. Okay, Disney, Apple, McDonald's, Procter and Gamble, and Hasbro. Look at all those. All those companies have longevity. They will be around for quite some time. They are established brands. They all pay dividends. So a dividend means you just get paid to hold the company. All right. So they're going to pay you to hold the company. Let's start being smart with our money. 2020 is knocking on the door. I know a lot of people are kind of saying 2020 is the year of vision. Don't mean that if you're going to go into 2020 and keep doing the same things you've been doing. All right. So I'm not going to preach at y'all. But again, think about buying your children stock for the holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate, and maybe even for their birthdays. I think they'll appreciate it when they get older because stocks, especially dividend stocks, are the gift that keep giving. All right, folks. Kamari Ellis out. Thanks for watching the Finance Rebel Show. Not sure if I'm going to do a show tomorrow, but I'll be around. Best believe I'll be around. But let me know. Have any of you brought stocks for your children in the past? That's the question today. Have you bought any stocks for your children, or will you at least consider buying stock for your children? All right. Thanks again for watching the Finance Rebel Show. I will see you all in the next broadcast. Have a great day, everybody. Happy holidays.